Alrighty, we are back finally for another update. It has been a hot minute, but we have a decent few changes now in the game, or just a couple new things. Mainly, we have a new grab, or a new move. We have the charge attack, which you can see all pieces of it. Obviously, it's not grabbing like this one does, but there was also an issue I fixed with this heavy grab, where initially it would, I escaped out of it where initially it would put the character that you're grabbing to the bottom of you without actually having to go to the hands first. You just needed a change of grab point. And since we've done it before, we know we can do it again. But the big thing is we have jabs now. We have jabs and we have charge attacks. And through these, I learned a lot about how to create boosts, how to advance the character forward, when it's proper to advance the character forward, because if you advance them and they're at the peak in the air, you get a thing like that. Or if you do it when you're over another character, it can get even funkier. But a lot of that's not really applicable in game because those boosts are really only happening after the grab has completed, after it's already grabbed and starts doing the spinning animation. The first boost I think still exists, but it's also cut in half or even further beyond when you're in the air. Whereas the jabs themselves have a 3 hit point and they boost you further and further and further. Let me change the timer so we have more time to do everything infinite. Now we can go back. But we've seen the jab and we've seen this. Most importantly, ooh, let me change some characters around. So there is some changes I'm gonna eventually be implementing to this character, where right now, the hands do close. They do close when you're at max charge, but even then, once you're like full screen away, that's kind of hard to notice. So we're gonna make it to where character and his head is just directly up the entire time once he reaches charge level 5. With this character, character I, it's very obvious. Insect, his hands go backwards, and no matter how far is he off screen, you're pretty good. I'm also now noticing some fracturing in the hands that I hadn't noticed before. Let's see if it's in both forms. Nope, it is just in the high pixel form. So that is a good catch, and that is another thing I can add to my to-do list. Because next update is really just going to be the make everything work update. So jab, 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 and then the same spinny animation. This animation is actually a lot more complicated in game than it looks. Um, there's a lot of weird things where it's just cut into so many different pieces, mainly for the sake of these spins. It's running at 22.5 frames a second rather than the original 15 frames a second the rest of the animation runs at, just to make it smoother, just to make it faster. And even for the 3D form, this spin has some weird cuts in it just because I made it as a composite rather than just having it be its animation because there was kind of like a weird slow frame point and it was easy just to fix it there. So with this next update, they're not gonna be able to do this anymore, where you can slide around as the character while you're doing things that you shouldn't be allowed to move during. Though this is the one move where I'm like, I don't know if I've balanced this properly. Also, we've changed the distance of this move. This move looks about the same on every single thing. It's just this projectile only goes about half screen now, 40% of screen, rather than so it's actually more of a space move. If anything, I might even make it shorter at some point because this still feels like it's going a lot of distance. Once again, oh, I thought my game was about to crash. I was just preparing some shader for something. Anywho, high pixel form, jab, 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 jab. I also don't know if this is new, but pushing exists now. This is newer, but it might have been in the last update. I'm not quite sure. And there's a lot of complexities behind this where I have to lock you into your max walk speed animation just so it looks less bad. And then there's weird scenarios like this where you can both be pushing each other, but obviously if both of you are pushing each other, no one's going anywhere. So it is what it is. And then charge attack. I love it because there's like 3 different kinds of boost. There's normal boost, micro boost, and mini boost. Just because it's otherwise you have to create even more variables. So I guess it's a matter of creating 3 different variables to determine what kind of boost you're using at least. Whereas already you're using variables to decide, oh, am I using the boost for jabbing, or am I using the boost for this? It was easier just to make more functions, honestly, and it works better. Low pixel, vroom, vroom, vroom. Oh yeah. Let's see if we can get the weird one. I've only done it. Yes, yes. So that I have no intention of taking that out of the game if it still works after I have moved all of the stuff incorrectly or moved it correctly to where you. Yeah. So this character might have some crazy movement. And then so will this character, because I have some plans, because even just for the jab here, if I can find the right button, I want it to be where this jab constantly boosts you forward. Whether or not that's an amazing idea, I'm not sure because of all these little ones that it creates behind you. But if it's like I can't show a good example because it's impossible to click it correctly, though if he's this is probably the best way of looking at it. It probably look more like this. And honestly, I'm not sure if I how much I like that. I might have to make the clones boost forward as well, or make them lock onto your root essentially. Those are probably the best ways of doing it, though. Right now, they kind of just spawn in and they stay wherever they're at. So honestly, it might be just be better for them to always go to your root anyway. But yeah, jab, 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 jumping jabs, jumping jab, jumping jab. Even if you're doing the jab in the air, you still get the full effect. Like let's say 1, 2, 3, you still get the boost of 3 when you hit the ground. At least you should. Nice little death animation from character N. I love that animation to Gear 5 reference. I made this before Gear 5 was really animated, or at least that was partially the plan, but once you got the official colors and everything, it was a lot easier to implement that properly. And by the time this game comes out, obviously it's not really a spoiler at all anymore. But let's take a look. I think I've covered everything. Fixed character rigging, 3D, low face. We're gonna have to fix some more stuff. Double. Oh yes, we doubled the length of character and charge attack. Oh goodness, this goes twice as far. So boom, and that's another reason for updating this because it's such a more useful move. Even though the charge still is, I would say, pretty long. It goes full speed. And now that this character is not exactly full speed, he does have an incredible amount of movement. So he can kind of get to you before you even done charging that, but you could interrupt him. I mean, I'm not sure how well it goes if you just fully and then you can try to amp it up that way, but it seems like the charge move has a lot more use now. Obviously, you can go boom and then charge. You shouldn't be able to jump while you're charging. That's not going to be a thing, so that's not something to worry about. But you just got to time your second jump, and then you can crank it all the way back and blast them. And yeah, that stuff's going good. I don't think I'm gonna put any boost on this because this move already has this character is made to be incredible movement wise. Somehow character I has been turned into almost a movement based character just because he has so many moves that cause him to boost now. And you can get such weird interactions like this. If I do it, I don't know if I can do it the other way. Maybe 2D and 3D handle their things a bit differently. Because this one, I'm getting that kind of interaction where it's like right over them. Yeah, no, I'm just doing a different way of doing that, I guess. Maybe it's because of the way I'm jumping. Or, yes, okay, so maybe because I was kind of like trying to stay over them. If I do it, yeah, okay, cool. So if you hold forward while you're doing it, you boost really far away. If you do it over them and then kind of hold back, you can do something like that. So honestly, character I has a lot of really cool, weird, unintentional stuff going for him. So that's cool. It's decreased startup time to release charge 3D form to match 2D forms. Oh, just a little bit of I did something there. Anyway, character N, just one last thing on his charge attack. I apparently edited this so it releases faster and is more in line with Yeah, so they now release at the same time. This is me pressing, just tapping it. This also gives you a good example of character ends takes the longest to release, I would say. Definitely does. Okay. If I could just click buttons properly, that would also be good. I'm hitting too many hotkeys. Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, honestly, the hands do go forward at about the same time, and this is going to be like a check situation where it's like, hey, am I actually grabbing someone or not? And then character ends is going to be a matter of just it just does its thing, it does its damage, does its knockback, does its whatever, does its pushback. Return to character select, and then I can show this one because he's obviously really wow. Those textures are really loading in, guys. This is like instantaneous. Boom, boom. Like I can't even click this one fast enough. This one seems like it has almost too long of a cooldown afterwards, I would say. Like it's not letting me like if I just keep tapping the button, it takes that long. Like I go back to being normal pretty quickly before I can ever do anything. So that might be something for me to look into as well. Where this one you can kind of just keep spamming and I'm worried maybe even get yeah, no, this is way smoother. So this one needs some edits on it. Let's check that out for character N. I mean, character N has a long startup, but it's not as bad for character N though. Maybe it just feels worse. Yeah, I'll have to look at these time differences. I mean, yeah, I'll just have to see how long it's trying to transition for. But now we can actually look at some of the animations, different things here. You're gonna, oh, it's opening on the other screen. Let's bring it over. Yeah, you can see the different variables, boost, check charge attack, and charge attack checking, and charge attack. Kind of just if it fails. This one has a different thing. Stage 1, Stage 2, Stage 3, Stage 4, Stage 5. Reset charge statuses, allow release, just allowing you to actually release the attack. This is just the charge looping. Yep. That's interesting. It is not the high pixel one. It probably isn't. Very intriguing. Yeah, because the high pixel one was having some weird deformation with the hands in game. And then this is the full attack, actually, just the whole animation before splicing. And then we have the success versions, which has the composite that's being used in game, micro boost, mini boost, and charge attack. Just a boom, 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 boom. Whereas if you look at the whole thing, it feels like there's almost like a kind of slowdown before you go into your second loop. So that's why I split it in two, so I could basically just shave a frame off of it. I don't remember which direction. I don't remember if it was kind of coming this or this way, or if it was from the other side going that way. Either way, a frame was shaved off between these two forms, and it was able to just become this, which is a bit smoother, a bit quicker, and I would say a lot more efficient. We can look at the blueprint. At least for the sake of this, there's a ton of variables which are not very complicated. There's just a lot of them. A lot of them. The boost ones are actually probably the most interesting ones to look at. So, mini boost. Let's look at normal boost because that one's probably the easiest for anybody else looking at this to replicate off of. If I can find it. Oh yeah, it's big. So it's asking if it's charge attacking, and if it's not, it'll come down here. Or actually, if it is charge attacking, it goes down there. If it goes over here, it asks if the character's falling, because for the sake of the jabbing one, you don't boost if you're in the air. So if that's false, asks if you're jabbing, that's true. If you're left facing or right facing, it's just changing the velocity to a -1 boost value. Boost value is pretty high. I have it at 1,000, I believe. Yes, that's at 1,000 times the jab integer, which is just what jab we're on, jab one, jab two, jab three, and it multiplies it by that, and then multiplies it by either just keeping at that value or -1 into the velocity x for launch character. So the better way that I've learned that you're supposed to do things like this for knockback is actually using character offset, and you can just use sweep to make them actually travel that way there. I like this way more still. I like the way that it's still more physics bound, and I think it's going to lead to a lot more interesting things in my game. It would also cause me to have to rework the entire game if I wanted to change everything to offsets. So we're keeping it this way. 'Cause also, I'm interested to see what else I can do. I'm having some plans in mind where hits done when you're in the air, kind of cutting it in half. And then this is the blueprint. So this is the whole thing right now between all different stages grabbed jabs, charge attack, heavy, and locomotion. For the sake of the charge attack one, I'll just click into it again for no reason. Entry into charge begin into a conduit or looping, because if this animation finishes, it'll go into looping. Um, if charge attacking and charge attack release are good to go, you get to go to the conduit. Charge attacking becomes true once the button is completed, once you let go of the charging. And then from there, it just asks, hey, are we charge attacking? Which is just double verification, because if we are, that's the only way we should be here to begin with. And then the check animation, if the check animation is success, charge attack success, which we just automatically are triggering it as a success no matter what right now. We then transfer over here into charge attack success flipped, or yeah, success, yeah. The clipped version, where if you do right, because the clipped, look at this, just make it pretty easy. You can go into it. It's the composite we were looking at earlier. And this is exactly how everything else is going to work across the 2D forms as well. It's a bit more complicated because there's a few more things to look at. Like you do all your stuff over here for your different functions. And then I created these ones ahead of time because the way these C0, C1, and so on and so forth work is it's just going to be setting up the hand here to have a hand in front further on the screen so you can actually physically grab your opponent even if they're 3D or 2D, no matter what, because we already have that for the heavy grab. So it's just going to be the same distance and everything. Just more functions, more functions. They all do the same things. Deactivate front hand just makes the hand that's in front of the opponent disappear once we get to a point where both hands should be in the animation properly again. Once again, same thing here. A lot more functions that I probably had to open because you have to set them all up, which is why they're all over here. Charge attacking, if you're charge attacking or charging, you get to go into this tandem by bool. Same with all stages, including 3D. Charge begin, looping, conduit, check, success. The only difference here is once this is done, you go into success end. And that's because I don't think it's going to be able to show me properly from here, so we'll actually go into the animations themselves. Charge, success, yes. There we go. So most animations in 2D run at 15 frames a second. This one, 22.5 for a little bit more speed to make it match up and maintain a good flow with the 3D forms. And at this point, I mean, we can kind of start wrapping this up. All the other forms are looking exactly the same. If I can just click on things properly, higher pixel, lower pixel. It's all the same setup. It's all the same. This you can't even click into it from there. That's kind of sad. But yeah, we can look at the charge animations themselves. Charging, just a boom, 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 boom. It's all good and well. Looping, success. Once again, it's the same thing. There's like this little rising action kind of situation, or actually, this is the ending point. And then this spinning which is pretty fun because I actually wasn't included when I made these animations, but I decided to add this because of the 3D form, given that one frame of going up. So it's like a halfway on the way up there. And then there's just the low pixel form we haven't looked at, I believe, which is once again all the same stuff. And you can see all the hands here. They're all labeled 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So they can be ready. Which one is the animations? They're already at the beginning, aren't they? Or in this case, they're actually somehow up here. So you can see them landing if you go a bit slower. You see them go down, down, and then kind of step back into his normal frame. Alrighty, well that kind of about does it. I can show this real quick. So this is kind of just where we're at. These are the things I got done. Some the red are the issues that kind of came up while I was working on the stuff. We can add this here. Fix high poly care eyes hand rigging for full charge looping. That's just so I know where to look. Yeah, here's the other plans right now. There's once again some vector art things for the extra story mode that I want to really get working on, but I just didn't do yet. I've been on vacation a lot. I've kind of just been doing other things for a while. Had a birthday, had multiple birthdays to go to. It's just been a busy month, busy 2 months. So here's what we're also gonna do. Probably increase the speed of character and heavy attack. So it's hard to say how good or bad this movie is right now because it's not in the game properly. Heck, I could even increase the length of it and make it go across more of the screen because right now it's not doing much. And for the speed it's at, it's not a very good tool unless you get some like armor or invulnerability in this character. They don't get that. They're not going to get that. So there's really two answers or two solutions I can come up with. Either you just make this like 25% faster so it's a good swatting tool. Because right now, what's the purpose when you have this move that covers the same distance? That's actually extremely the same distance. Is that true for all? No, bit more range on that one, but then again, that doesn't count because these ones don't currently have the attack point attached to the fist like they will eventually. But yeah, if anything, it reaches shorter on that form compared to it. So either doubling the length, increasing the speed, or a little bit of both, maybe like a 25% increase in length and a 25% increased speed, just to make it a good heavy tool. Because it is a heavy attack, but it does take a long time. Without much benefit, to be honest. Finish making animated moves work and give hitboxes. Yup, that's just kind of making all the attacks that are in the game work because they're all in the game. Just a lot of them don't actually do any damage or anything. Insect heavy attack update where the grab ends when he hits the ground. Yes. So with the suplex, which is I can't even really show a good example right now because there's not a scenario yet where it's possible because nobody has any hit stun that shoots you up. But the idea is we don't want the suplex to end until he's on the ground. Right now, he's always hitting the ground anyway. So I'm not sure if it's gonna be a concern, but it's a potential concern, and that's how we want the move to work. Anyway, we don't want you letting go of them midair. 'Cause you can even do that with the charge attack grab. You can have it when they like dash forward to grab you, wait until they hit the ground to then jump in the air again to do the spins. Because thematically, that would be the better way of doing it. And honestly, it would fit the character more because a lot of his kit is about getting to the ground as quick as possible. He has the gravity slam. He has heavy gravity slam you down. Yeah, that would be a good way of doing it. Possibly same for charge grab. But then you gotta add even another stage to that where the check if it's correct to stay in that frame and pause. That could basically take the place of the conduit though. So that's fine. No, the conduit's before that, so you'd have to add another stage still. Anywho, yeah, that's the thing we just added. For much later, tip bar being able to fix ability change phasers. We're doing this one next anyway, right? At least I want to. Boom. Fix ability to change phases more. Have stun, jumping, attacking, and mad all outside of locomotion state. No, we've been experiencing a lot more issues with the new attacks. So maybe, but I don't know. I don't think it's necessary. Um, maybe could be good for stun and death. That's really it. I don't know. Jumping and stuff. Only one character has a jumping animation, so it's a whole thing. Anywho, I will move it to the top two though. Um, Mainly ecom should be able to move during all others, but not many others should at all. That was a little note I left myself on the other one. Tab, Control V. Cool. Yeah, we're pretty much all set then. Take that one off of there. Um, yeah, just doing some cleanup on this now. I gotta figure out where Queen Mother's going. And then, yeah, we've cleaned this up and we are good to go for next time. This looks like it'll be hopefully what we have all done for the next update. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Sorry for keeping you guys here so long. Peace out.